Hey, what's up, guys? Officially, this is the last Pocket Change market report for the month of April, I promise. But it's a really good one, all right? We have a lot of good stuff to talk about today. You might have a little bit of interest in what's selling out there right directly from Pocket Change, Circulation. Maybe you're an avid showgoer or coin shop, attendee. There's a bunch of different places that you could certainly go to search out some of the coins that you're going to see on this video today. Now, of course, a lot of the same stuff still applies week in and week out. Number one, generally all the coins I talk about are not graded. However, we do have one exception here, but it's more of an educational kind of rule than an exception. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that one as we get to it. But secondly, you don't need to grade any of these coins. And the big reason why is that errors and varieties in the marketplace today are so easily identifiable that they sell on their own. You don't really need to pay the large amounts of money that it takes to grade, say, a $50 error coin through PCGS. Okay, that's $65 base fee just to grade an error through PCGS can be backbreaking. So make sure you keep that in mind when you find something and it's an error or a variety being like a double die or a repunchment mark or some sort of transitional type of coin. You don't need to grade them. All right, just want to lay that out there. So the big key to successful sales on eBay is really going to be good, clear, concise photos and really having a knack at attributing your own errors and varieties. As long as you're using the right keywords and terms that apply to your coin, you should be in really good shape. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about all of the various auctions. So these are coins that have been bid up organically on eBay, but also in addition, a lot of the fixed price listing type coins. There are certain cases where each is going to apply to your coin based off of how quickly the coins sell on the secondary market. So keep that in mind. All of the sales are from the last 24 to 36 hours. I had to trudge through a lot of non-errors and varieties and graded coins. I probably looked at a good solid 500 to 600 coins just in the last 48 hours to come up to a final list of only 33. So kind of gives you a little bit of idea of how many coins, and boy, I'm going to say this and I mean this in the most loving of ways. There's a lot of education that still needs to go out there to folks who are kind of like beginners at the game. But that's okay. That's why I continually hammer out these reports. Some of the coins are going to seem a little redundant. I've kind of throttled back on off-center errors because I've had a lot of people say, well, you can't find those in Change. I'm like, well, you can find them in other places. All right? So keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and jump right in. We have a really good list. This is the cream of the crop, so to speak, to end off the month of April. And we're going to start out here with a really good lot of coins. They're all Canadian half dollars. They're all 1982p. So again, like I said, if you're a roll hunter, okay, people roll hunt Canadian half dollars. It's a very popular activity, by the way, strictly for looking at silver. All right, it's silver, 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 and nothing else. If you're not looking at any other coins, specifically some of the errors and varieties that are commonplace within this short series, you're really not doing yourself justice. We have 20 1982p missing initials reversed. Keep in mind, this is a cherry picker's guide variety. They're all very well circulated. They're all in 2x2s, and strangely enough, a lot of them have dates on them, which I would venture to guess are the dates in which these were found in boxes. Now, the dates are like from 2011, so that was quite a while ago, but people are still finding a lot of these 82p no FG coins in rolls. So make sure you're looking for these. There's a few key dates for the missing initials reverse, including a couple unattributed dates as well. So this particular lot sold for $127.30, and guess what? It was bid up through 16 bids. There was enough activity here that someone saw an opportunity, and more than likely, someone will probably end up pulling a couple of the nicer examples and then reselling the rest. I mean, like I said before, you could buy lots like this and flip it and at least double your money. People tend to take a pretty good price cut on full lots. All right. So again, always be aware of the lots that come across through auction on eBay, and it might represent a good opportunity to pick it up and profit. All right. Always something I talk about, and I'm going to continue to talk about it until my final day on this earth. So that's a good way to kick off this one here. And here's another coin that has been showing up in rolls from 2020 to 21 and even 2022. People are finding some of these kind of fringy, slightly off-center Lincoln shield cents, and they're all Philadelphia struck examples. Now here's another one here. It's off-center by, I would say, about 5%. It's nothing that's going to kind of like wow you at first glance, but at the same time, you're like, wow, they're still making these today? I'm happy to say people are, okay? People are finding these more frequently than you would imagine. I see probably half a dozen to a dozen of these sold every single day. It's pretty awesome, actually. This example sold for $12.99. All right, the next one that we have here, I found a few of these, and you're going to find different kind of variants of it. So we have a undated Lincoln wheat cent. Now, the date's completely missing, or pretty close to it. I could see the 1 and 9 just ever so slightly. But what we have here is a coin that was struck with either a little bit of grease in a certain area, in this case where the date is. So you can see even the tip of the bust of Abraham Lincoln there is a little bit soft as well. So I would say there was a pretty good smattering of grease or something on the die before this coin was struck. Another thing to keep in mind is that the areas that are raised on the coin are going to be incuse on the die, which means there's always a possibility that these areas can become filled with grease and debris over time. And that is usually the case. It's going to take actually a mint employee going in and actually doing a little maintenance job on it, so that way all the grease and debris are out of those devices. So yeah, we have a missing date struck through grease or just filled dies. You could even, kind of do it that way. Sold for $13.49. Coin's not in that great a shape. It's very well loved and circulated. So to get $13 back, hey, that's a heck of a deal right there. All right, so you guys saw my title of the video, Clash Dies. All of a sudden are shooting through the roof. We have a couple examples this week that you guys need to know about. The first one is a brand new coin, 2022 Lincoln Shield cent. It is literally fresh into circulation as of like maybe 2.5 months ago. So this is a worthwhile find. Very strong clash dies. Mostly you're going to see that on the obverse of the coin. The seller did really great job superimposing the areas that are more interesting to buyers of these type of coins. Make sure you learn how to take close-up photography. You can even do it with an iPhone if you don't have, say, a USB microscope, which is very popular these days. If you need one of those, I got some at different price levels down below in my description box through Amazon. I do get paid a small portion of each sale. So if you wanted to support your boy Blue, that's a good way of doing it. So yeah, to check out the clashing, it's not nothing. This is quite strong. Very, very beautiful example here. You're not going to see too much clashing on the reverse. There's a little bit of clashing within the lines of the shield, but aside from that, it's nothing, that quite matches up to what you see on the obverse. These are being found with great regularity out there. If you're not hunting 2022s for any reason, you should look at them for this. They do come up when you least expect them, and they're not particularly rare or uncommon. You're going to find these if you go through enough of them. This example, wow, pretty nice. Sold for $31.89 with 6 bids. And they seem to kind of average in that $30 to $40 range. And I always see a few of them sell every week. So if you're looking to pick up a few bucks and you just don't know really what to search through, check out brand new 2022 pennies. You're bound to find something. All right, so here's another lot that I would say is worth a look, okay, for mainly to flip and profit ties from it. Yeah, they're all off-center struck Lincoln cents, okay, but a few things to note. There are no readable dates, which is important because, you know, to a lot of collectors of this particular error type and series, they want the dates because they do collect them by date. However, this is one of those areas where I think it's kind of irrelevant. I can't believe I'm saying that, but these 7 coins that you see here are all pre-1982 bronze, which is notable. Nobody really likes a collection of post-1982 Zinkins because they just don't look very good when they're struck this wildly off-center. If you're going to buy into a lot with some potential, always aim for something like this where you have a lot of the older composition. These are going to hold up a lot better over time, and they look a little bit better as well. Here's a quick look at the reverse, and you'll notice that one of the coins, it has a what they call a uniface. All right, that just means that when this coin was struck off center, it was actually overlapped on top of another blank planchet. So when it was struck, it's obviously going to leave no devices on the back of the coin, but check out all of the other 6. They all have some sort of like Lincoln Memorial design on there. So again, based off of what this sold for, which was $39 with 9 bids, I could actually see the opportunity to make some money off of this. If anything, if you sold a lot of these for around $10 to $15, you could get close to doubling up your money. This would be a great lot to pick up. If and only if you wanted to resell them, you know, just take a little bit better pictures, you know, and then let it roll. You know, you should do okay with this kind of lot. Now, here's another kind of area of hunting that I think a lot of people tend to overlook. And believe it or not, this is an anomaly that shows up on virtually every date of Lincoln cent going back maybe 40 years plus. And that's the good old spike head, which is simply a die crack that goes from the rim, as you can see from this kind of black oval here, that goes from the rim into his head at some point, okay? In this case, it goes between the word we and trust and the motto. You can even see the crack continue on through his head, which is quite cool. But look at the date. It's a 1999, all right? It's, again, a date that we don't typically associate with there being this sort of error. Okay, a lot of people don't because it's like a newer period of coinage, and you would think that there's not that many errors to find. Okay, actually, the coins we're going to talk about today, which are from the post-2000 era, is going to kind of wow you a little bit. Like, wow, these still exist out there? Yeah, I'm afraid they do. But look at things like this. You would be surprised how much money you're leaving on the table by not looking for a simple spike head. These show up very frequently in roll hunts. This one right here sold for $11.50 with 8 bids. I can only imagine more coins in this particular condition. I mean, how many of these can you come across? Really? And they show up in Philadelphia and Denver minted strikes. So this is, I mean, if you're not paying attention to these, man, there's a lot of area of opportunity that you will be missing if you overlook this. Now this one right here is just a really nice, pleasing coin. I wanted to throw this one up here because it's my wife's birth date, so I was like, wow, that's pretty neat. I would have bought this if I had seen it. It's a 1977 Washington quarter. It's a broadstruck is what it is. So the collar wasn't fully engaged during the strike, which meant that a lot of the metal flow went more further outwards. I would assume that this coin has no reeds as well, seeing as how the collar, which is a die in itself, has the reed patterns on there. This one right here ended up selling for $75. I mean, it's a beautiful coin too. Very, very nice, very lustrous example. All right, so here's that other clash die that I think is going to, I mean, it's going to surprise the heck out of a lot of you, but at the same time, I have a feeling that this is a coin, because I'm showing it right here, is going to crush a lot of souls, right? Because maybe we've come across something like this, and we, probably 2-3 years ago, we've sold it for like a song and a dance, right? $10, $15, $20 at the time seemed like a really good amount of money for Clash dies. And this is just a testament to how much this particular segment of error collecting has shot up through the roof. You're never going to believe how much this one sold for, because the condition of the coin is just, it's just medium to me. It's got like a carbon spot stain here. It's got other sorts of other little carbon spots on the reverse. It's a very well circulated coin at that as well. The clashing on the front, they call this a jailhouse cent, by the way, because those bars or the bays from the Lincoln Memorial that's clashed onto the obverse dies is overlapping Lincoln. I almost said Washington there for a second, but you could see why they call it that. This one, okay, hold on to your hats. Sold for $186.29. No, it's not a troll job. That's really how much it sold for. 41 total bids accumulated for this particular coin. Do I need to say more? You guys really should consider, if you want, selling these. Now look how good the pictures are. The only drawback, and I don't think it's really that big of a drawback, is that you had the obverse imaged in a 2x2 holder. Okay, that's apparent. And then the second picture, the coin was taken out of the holder and imaged. It's crazy. I mean, there's going to be instances in this video where you're going to see inconsistent photography. Let that be a lesson. Do not take inconsistent photography. Always use the same backgrounds. Take the coins out of the 2x2s, because those things are a dime a dozen. But wow, $186. If that isn't more of an incentive to find these, if not sell the ones that you have now, because this one's really strong. Yeah, I don't know what it is. The market is just really, really good on Clash dies, especially ones that look like this. Now here's a no-date Jefferson nickel with a pretty sizable rim clip. There is a little bit of a Blakesley effect, just a slight flattening of this edge right here. But yeah, just a really nice high-grade specimen. Not really sure where you'd find this, except maybe in a mint-sewn bag. This is probably an example from like maybe the 70s or 80s, just looking at the coin. This one ended up selling for $95 with 20 bids. So that's a pretty good amount of money for this one. Yeah, decent looking coin with full steps. This thing has hammered steps, by the way. Now, in case you've maybe have found this or not, this is what a Lincoln cent would look like if the planchet was split before the strike. The coin is actually a lot thinner than what it looks like, but because the planchet had split right directly down the middle on its edge, you have a strike that's going to look a lot weaker. Furthermore, you're going to get some really nice striations on here. Because, I mean, take a look at the obverse. This is the side that had the split. And, yeah, the back of the planchet was just nice. It was just good. This is what a coin would look like if it was struck on a split planchet. This one ended up selling for $86.86. As far as I could tell, it's a large date 1960. And the $86 was split up between 23 bids. So there was a lot of people interested in this particular coin. It's not an error that you see come up too frequently. And again, this is another coin that you don't need to grade. It speaks for itself. It speaks volumes. A graded example would sell for about the same amount of money. So keep that in mind. All right, so we've made it 10 items into the list, and we finally come across our first piece of currency. Now, we don't have a ton of currency this week, and that's fine. But we have a 1981 $10 bill. All right, it's just a really good-looking note right here. The front of the note really doesn't scream anything, that would draw attention to an error or some sort of like variant. But if you look on the back, we have a very light, but it's 100% front to back wet ink transfer. There was a little bit of ink left over on the impression cylinder when the next sheet was fed in. So some of that ink had made its way onto the back of the sheet. And it was pretty light, as you can see here. With wet ink transfers, you'll notice that everything is backwards. All right, so if it's not backwards, it's not a legit error. All right, keep that in mind. This one right here ended up selling for $190, which is a really good amount of money. That's kind of like par for the course for this type of error. Now, we had back-to-back, actually, two 1995 Lincoln Memorial Cent doubled die obverses. These are, of course, the popular FS101s. This one is actually quite neat. Now, first of all, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, there's a couple scratches on there, right? Well, these are raised. So I've seen this before, and I believe these are just like die gouges or very light die gouges or something to that effect. But there's like 3 of them, all right? Or that could be just something that's on the plastic of the 2x2. And that's the main reason why I say take the coin out of the holder before you take pictures of them. But you're going to see some of that strong doubling on Liberty and the motto "In God We Trust" on all of these examples. This one right here, really nice shape, sold for $65, which we've seen the prices on these in raw form go up. And mostly for the examples that are like full red, really pretty, it's going to be kind of like a cheaper alternative to buying one that's like a mid-state 68, which, they're about $100, $125 today. They're starting to creep up there in price. There was also a second example, but this is going to kind of like let you guys know that one unsightly carbon spot will completely derail this coin because it really doesn't have a whole lot of like underside safety net. So, if there was like a deep scratch or a carbon spot, it's really going to collapse the value on these coins because they're so readily available in just full red BU without the spot that people are willing to wait for the next one. Like this one ended up selling for only $39.95. I mean, if you put your thumb right over the carbon spot, it's a generally very nice coin, but carbon spots is like rust. It's cancerous to the coin. It's going to eat at the coin after a while. And since these are zincons, that's a pretty tough kind of, proposition to hold when you have these in your collection. Now, not the best looking photos, but this is indeed a 1968D Lincoln Memorial Cent. The front looks a little bit off center, but the back of the coin is perfectly centered. This is misaligned dies. All right, so the die had a little bit of play, the obverse hammer die that is, when the coin was struck. So a little bit of that shift or shake will make the coin appear like it's a little bit off center. But until you flip that coin over, you really won't know what you got. Now, what's cool about this one is you do have some of the loss of these devices here on the edge. All right, and that's what people like to see with misaligned dies. If it doesn't have that, it's way too minor to list. This one sold for $15.75. Man, that's a great amount of money. I would take that all day long. For a coin that is like kind of like average to me. There are a few very notable cuds this week. How about 1981? It's got a big old cud die break right above Lincoln's head. Now, cuds, again, form on the edge, and they go into the design. All right, if you have something that big just in the middle of the coin, that's just a really severe interior die break. But a cud of this size is quite notable. Okay, you're going to make sure that you have also the corresponding weakness on the reverse of the coin here. Just a really good date. This one sold for $114.26 with 9 bids. Again, this segment of error collecting right here is hot, and people are throwing just tons of money at cut die breaks. They're collecting them by progression and things like that. And always check your silver because you could find something like this. Now, this is probably like, without the error, about what, a $9, $10 coin, and that's like adding a little bit of extra premium because the coin is in decent shape, and I wouldn't say it's quite silver melt value, but this one has a really nice, curved clip. It's right over the words "In God" in the motto, as you can see right there, and it's got the appropriate amount of Blakesley. You can see this little bit of flattening right here above the Y. Yeah, something like this will transform a coin that customarily would be worth about $8 to $10 melt value into one that this particular case sold for $45.49. By the way, errors on Franklin half dollars are really not that common, and that's why this one sold for 4x. So if you do come across these, always a great flip, and then you can buy more silver with it. Now here's our other big cut of the week, 1975. Now the pictures are blah, all right? The coin was standing upright against an object or a wall or a box or something, but you have a lot of darkness here. And again, you want better lighting on these type of coins. It's going to show the cut a whole lot better, but this is a really nice sizable piece here. You would figure this one would sell for a lot more money compared to the previous example, but because of the pictures, it really kind of killed the momentum. Make no mistake about it, it did sell for a good decent amount of money at $109 this time with 10 bids. So it sold for just a hair less than the previous example, but it's a much more impressive coin. Buy this, flip it for about $150, and make yourself about $30-$35. That's how I approach these type of listings. And this is a little itty-bitty cut, this time at the base of Lincoln on a large date 1982 copper. Always need to find these smaller ones. Again, these still have value. All cuts are dangerously expensive today. This one sold for $29.26 with 7 bids. Very fair amount of money considering its age. I would take that all day long. Or condition, rather. Now here's our graded coin that I wanted to talk about. Again, this is going to be more of a lesson in, hey, don't grade this. Why are you grading things like this? This is a coin that's in an ICG graded holder. Again, not the most glamorous third-party grader, but it is in a graded holder. It's a 1920 Buffalo nickel with a sizable detached lamination on the reverse. The coin is not that great a shape. It's probably like a good level. I wouldn't even say it's VG. It doesn't even look VG, but again, a coin that you're going to end up paying, ICG, I don't know how much they charge for error attribution. It's got to be like maybe $20 to $30, I would say. But you could save all that money for a coin that ended up selling for $26 with 8 bits. So the market has spoken, on this coin. You don't need to grade it, so don't do it. Now here's another impressive, very spectacular $5 bill. This is a 1969A series with a grossly misaligned third print. You can see that there. The overprint is shifted way to the right. Wow, what a spectacular note. And again, these are the type of notes that you want to look out for. Yeah, it's a little bit older note, but you can find these on the more later big head colorized notes. We've seen a few of them, especially on dollar bills. Pop through the marketplace. This one ended up selling for $223. These have a tremendous amount of value, and even just a little bit of shift where you have overlapping first and third prints. Very, very impressive. There's a image of the back just showing some of the circulation wear. You got a few fold areas as well. All right, boy, these things are drying up. They are drying up. There's only a couple listings, and they are fixed price listings. We haven't seen a true kind of like auction in quite some time. It's probably been about 3 to 4 or 5 weeks. But we actually have a 2 coin, I would say kind of like an early progression and a later state progression of the 2021 retained cut. And these are really nice coins. They're going to dry up and they're going to get expensive. Before you can blink, these will be completely off the market with only like graded examples, which there are a number of them graded as of today through both NGC and PCGS. That I think there probably was like 1 or 2 that sold on eBay, and that's it. All right, so this 2 coin set, very nice, pleasing mid-state examples. Sold for $700. Again, one of the most important errors of the modern generation is drying up as we speak. Here's a 1998 D candy half dollar. Very, very nice coin here that exhibits 2 rim clips, as far as I can tell. It looks like there possibly could be a third right here. You know, and you have Blakesley effect all over the thing. I mean, this thing is pretty nice. The coin is not like minty fresh, like it was just found yesterday. This thing had circulated for whatever strange reason that people elected to spend this on a cup of coffee without knowing that it doesn't look right. So, you know, if you find something odd like this, pull it aside. You could always post it on Facebook to see what other people think of it. This coin sold for not a little amount of money. This was actually a very nice sale. That's $69.59. Oh, well, this is a beater. So even these coins right here need some love. These have circulated a little bit as well. It's a 1981 P Washington quarter. It's slightly off-center, or possibly just a really nice off-center broad strike. You know, it probably looks like either or. This one here sold for $24.99, proving again that coins of this condition, which looks like it has a little bit of damage here as well, like roller damage from a coin counter. Still desirable. You know, it could very well be a key date that someone's looking for like a birth date, or, you know, to add to a date set of this particular era. Always be aware of what these sell for. Here's another good one. Again, one that is circulated and stayed off the market for most of its natural-born life. 1929 S Buffalo Nickel. It's not an incredibly tough date, but it does have a nice kind of little detached lamination there, which is recirculated. So you have a lot of dirt, grime, and grease that filled in that area, and that's why it's black. This one right here, the seller had referred to it as a speared Indian. And I think that's a pretty cool kind of like, you know, nickname if you wanted to deliver that to this. Sold for $38. And I guarantee you these show up in bulk, you know, low-grade Buffalo bins quite often, and are generally overlooked by coin dealers. So you can pick one up for under $1, flip it for 30, 40, 50 bucks if you so desire. But these have always been kind of like a gravy train of reselling opportunity. You know, especially if you're not crazy about this type of error. This is just a really nice 1939 off-center struck Lincoln. Not a date that you would customarily see, you know, on the marketplace. So it is definitely one that I would say is needed in a date set. This one ended up selling for $99.99. You know, just a penny short of a C note. So pretty good sale here. And another one that I'm willing to bet a lot of people overlook. This is a 2008. All right, Lincoln Memorial set. But take a look at the reverse. It's got a pretty big, what they call, beehive die chip right there in one of the bays of the Lincoln Memorial. You know, the pictures are just decent on this. It was imaged in a 2x2 holder. Again, you guys know my stance on that. This one sold for $9.50 with 2 bids. So, yeah, there's some value here. The pictures do all the work for you. And here's another one that I'm sure that a lot of you have probably found or overlooked in a just bulk lot of Indian sets. 1890, very common date. Indian head set is not a very high grade example, but it is, yeah, there was a lot of strike through on this one. Lots of grease and other debris was on the die before this one was struck. So you see a lot of the loss of United States there on the left side of the coin. And yeah, this one sold for $80. $80. I mean, can you imagine how much this one was originally purchased for? If it was cherry-picked out of, like, bulk Indian head cents? Maybe $1 or $2? This one sold for $80. Again, the market is strong for some of the most egregious errors. Things that just, like, really pop. Now, this one's really cool. Take a quick look at this one here. Yeah, this is a 1947 Jefferson nickel. Which had, I guess, at one point a clamshell lamination, but the piece had like fallen off, but it didn't go very far. It stayed with their original owner. Now, I don't know, and I'm not going to speculate that the piece was helped along in being detached, but we have a full 2-piecer here. Yeah, this is pretty cool. I mean, you know, it does have like that improper alloy mix woody appearance, which explains a lot as to why the annealing issues led to this clamshell. We see these all the time, but mostly the piece is like long gone by then. This one, by the way, had 5 other just, 1951S nickels. It's just a random kind of like supplement to that error coin. I don't even know why these were even added, as maybe just a bonus. Yeah, so this right here sold for $61. So that's a pretty neat sale. And again, keep an eye out for those clamshells. You'll notice a split on the edge. If you can help it, don't help it along. They'll still sell really well. All right, so here's our other, inconsistent photo for this listing, which is you can barely see the date, by the way, 1974 Washington Quarter. So the image on the left was taken in a 2x2. The image on the right, which I think is worlds better, had a black or dark background, but you could see just the strike through on this. The reverse anvil die had some sort of grease on it before it was struck. So you have general weakness on a lot of the reverse of the coin. And this one right here sold for $55. Jeez. Well, we're living in a world where very well circulated 1970s Washington quarters with a little bit of strike through sells for $55. Yeah, it's a good time to be alive, and it's a good time to hunt some of those bankrolls. For looking for stuff like this primarily. And to look for things like this. On a relatively newer 2021 Jefferson nickel, again, this is where the one exception of taking a picture of the coin in a 2x2 would help, because it helps place markers on the staples, that is, to show the rotation. So we have a coin that has rotated dies. It's about, now the seller says 55% or 55 degrees. And we'll just go with that. I think it's more like 45 to 50. It's about split right down the middle of a 90-degree right angle, if you were looking at it. So we'll use 55 degrees, rotated dies. Coin's a beautiful shape, by the way. And these are showing up in both Philadelphia and Denver struck Jefferson nickels, primarily from the last like 12 years of this new obverse design. Always a good cherry pick, and they sell for a lot of money. This one sold for $60. So yeah, if you're able to find one, more than likely you're going to find others, especially if you're going through like full solid rolls of 2021s. This is a good one right here. Another large date, 1982p. Now this is one of my favorites, and I found probably like 4 of these over the course of 25 years. And they're all just on Philadelphia minted examples. This is, ladies and gentlemen, a really nice doubled die obverse. Go ahead and check out these close-ups. Take a look at the word God and we. And wow, this thing is spectacular. This is a coin that you will need a magnifier. Do not attempt to look for this with the naked eye. It's just not going to happen. It doesn't matter if you have Superman like 20/5 vision. It ain't going to happen. This is a coin right here that the last few I've seen come across the marketplace has sold for a really good amount of money. This one ended up selling for $75 with 2 bids. One and done. Really good sale on a very well circulated 82 large date. We're down to our last 2 coins, but here's a no date Jefferson nickel that was struck through a cap die. A little bit later stage. I would say it's probably mid. You don't have a lot of the devices poke through a very thin die cap at this point. So yeah, this is what this would look like. Just overall, just like no devices to be seen on one side of the coin, while the reverse has a really nice struck area. This one right here sold for $24.50 with 10 bids. And then we're going to end it off on, a Bicentennial $half, because why not? Now, for those of you who say, well, you can't find these in circulation. Well, you can. Does this coin look like a mint state example to you? It looks like it has circulated quite a bit, actually. But this is a Bicentennial Philadelphia 76. It's about 10% off center. For those of you keeping track, just a great looking coin. And again, Bicentennial errors are great. in the marketplace. They command a lot of money and a lot of respect, and if you do come across them, you've hit a nice little honeypot for sure. This one sold for $50. So, yeah, not too bad. I would take that all day long on this one. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to go ahead and wrap up the final coin for the month of April. Yeah, we're going to be hitting up May here with a new fresh PCMR. I would say, what, 5th of the month? Wednesday? Somewhere around there? I don't know. But I'm sure a lot of you will join in on the fun that comes with that. It was a pleasure. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy your hunt. Hopefully this video gives you a little bit of inspiration to do a little bit of hunting of your own. There is, some coin shows happening out there. So, yeah, go ahead and check it out. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. That's going to go ahead and do it for today. You guys take care. Have a good one, and I'll see you on the next coin video. So long.